off with a rapid fire round just to break the ice. The first question is, at what age do you want to retire?
Never.
How long does it take you to get ready in the mornings?
1 minute.
Most embarrassing moment of your life?
I regret nothing.
Favorite color?
Blue.
What time of day are you most inspired?
All day.
How many hours of sleep can you survive on?
I need my sleep. 8 hours at least.
The city in which the best kiss of your life happened?
Utrecht.
Pick one, Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk?
Neither.
How do you relax?
Cycling.
How many cups of coffee do you drink per day?
Maybe 1.
A habit of yours that you hate?
I regret nothing.
The most valuable skill you've learned in life?
Public speaking.
Your favorite Netflix show?
I don't watch Netflix.
Are you an early riser or a night owl?
Early riser.
One word description of your leadership style?
Inclusive.
Coffee or tea to kickstart your day?
Coffee.
Top priority in your daily schedule?
My family.
Ideal vacation spot for relaxation?
The mountains.
Key factor for maintaining a work-life balance?
My family.
How is the CISO's role changing in today's digital landscape? What is driving these changes in general?
So, if you think about the CISO's role, it's a relatively new role. It's existed for maybe a little bit over 30 years now. Steve Katz was the first CISO in a US bank. And it started with protecting office applications, office automation. And then if you ask the CISO, so who's responsible for securing your operational technology? Who's responsible for securing your digital supply chain? Then the answer would be someone from engineering, someone from procurement, right? So over the past couple of years, all of that's been included in the CISO's remit. And we'll see more of that being included in their remit. So we have artificial intelligence and new technologies coming up like quantum computing. And CISOs will need to consider that. But how these technologies change business is also very profound. The business profile changes. And with that come new considerations for the CISO. They don't just need to think about protecting and saying no when something is outside of policy. They now also need to consider how can we use these technologies in a secure manner. So it's not just protection, it's also enabling the business to become more agile and more effective, maybe changing towards what customers need. And so CISOs need to start building trust with their customers. It's a very broad topic, but essentially it's not just about that protection anymore, but also considering other types of risks like what affects my reputation, what affects my organizational resilience. And CISOs need to start acting more like business executives rather than technical protectors of an organization. So the CISO is becoming much more the CEO of their own security program and need to manage that accordingly.
So how should CISOs go about balancing and reacting to external pressures with shaping long-term security strategy?
I think so. We just outlined that the role is becoming increasingly complex, and that's not sustainable. So one thing that CISOs need to be doing is simplify their operations. So it's not about technology sprawl anymore, not about single point best-in-class solutions, but rather how can we simplify operations so that we focus on what's really important and let the technology do the heavy lifting. I think that's absolutely critical. And we'll see more complexity being included in the CISO's role as we go forward. So new things will come up, incidents will come up, and they need to be managed. So another thing that CISOs also need to do then is have the right skills and capability available to them in their team as a fractional part of their team, or maybe outsourced, to appropriately respond. So the CISO's remit is growing. It's getting much wider than it was. And certainly from a, let's say, development perspective, they need to prepare their team, their organization, essentially, for that future.
And what technologies do CISOs need to be mindful of right now?
The talk of the town is artificial intelligence. I'm sure somewhere in some hype cycle, it will show that artificial intelligence is downward trending, but it's still a very profound technology that we can use to protect ourselves. But we also need to be mindful of the implications on threats and on the security landscape in general. As we use the technology, so do our attackers. And it's absolutely vital that we're aware of the changing threats to secure ourselves. Another thing that I think is critically important going forwards is quantum computing. There are quantum computers out there, and their speed and efficiency will only increase going forwards. The real threat there is that you're getting breached now, but the data is encrypted later through quantum computing by attackers. So you want to think about how to secure yourself from those types of decryption attacks now, and have your roadmap ready for when quantum computing becomes widespread.
And how do you go about approaching vetting new security tools?
So we do most of our design ourselves. At Cloudflare, we are customer zero. So for most problems that we see in the world, we think of it as how should we solve it? And once we found a solution, then we democratize those tools for our customers. So one example is we recently seen a widespread breach involving a third party on Salesforce. So how do you get that visibility of who's connecting into your SaaS applications, what data is being shared? And this is something that at Cloudflare we recently released as a new feature for early access to our clients to provide you with that visibility, essentially as a single point of access to all of your SaaS applications. So I think that's really cool about being part of Cloudflare. It's an engineering company and we solve problems.
So you talked about how CISOs should take on more leadership roles. How do you recommend CISOs build influence and credibility with their C-suite peers?
I think it's absolutely vital that CISOs move forward in the development conversation. And so as you talk about how the business changes and how the business model changes, the CISOs need to be part of that conversation up front to make sure that it's done securely and that what you do builds trust with your clients, with your partners. You need to be forceful as a CISO. You need to make sure that you are part of that conversation. Otherwise, you'll be telling your colleagues afterwards, I told you so. And that's not a great position to be in. I don't think it's for the lack of understanding about cyber risk that some CISOs are in the position that they are today. All the board understands cyber risk is a major deal. If you suffer a ransomware attack, you go down, you lose your business, you lose your data, and some of that might be very sensitive. You get in trouble with your clients, with your partners, maybe even with the government. So this is something that we need to solve for. And as a CISO, you are in prime position to solve those issues for your colleagues, your business partners in your organization. So that's where you want to be in the early discussions about how your business changes and how technology enables that.
So what does your typical day at Cloudflare look like? You wake up in the morning and then?
First thing I do is open my email, and I'll probably have a lot of them. since a lot of my colleagues work from the United States. A lot of the work is being done overnight. And then I reach out to customers, see how they're doing, make sure that they're doing fine. I check how the internal things are going on, if there's any important issues that we need to solve for quickly. Sometimes I might attend an event like this one that we're at today here at TechX, and have conversations with everyone who's here, some of the media, just having a great day.
And how much of your daily time is taken up with meetings?
Right now, it's about 50%. So I do get a lot of time to think about what needs to be done. Thought leadership is obviously an important part of what we do at Cloudflare, and I try to contribute to that as much as possible. But also strategizing. So what does security look like in 5 to 10 years? Where should our customers be going? What do we as Cloudflare think of the world as it changes? And hopefully tackle some of those larger issues that are currently troubling us.
So speaking of how Cloudflare thinks of the world, Cloudflare says it's on a mission to help build a better internet. How does that vision influence your work as a field CISO?
I think it's critically important. It's also one of the reasons why I work at Cloudflare. So the internet was never designed with security in mind. It started out as a project for sharing information, late 60s. Security wasn't a thing. I think it was 2 years later that the first worm was developed, initially to understand how many computers were actually on the network, but that started causing issues. So I think the lesson here is if you can build it, you can break it. And you need to build things then with security in mind. And that's what we do at Cloudflare. So everything that we do needs to be secure. Obviously, we're not flawless ourselves, but we do offer as much security as we can. And as things progress, we intend to improve. And I think that's what any organization should aim for. Being resilient is not just about being 100% secure, but being able to respond to incidents as they come along, being transparent about them, and improving as you go along.
Are there any milestones or interesting stories of how Cloudflare has made the internet safer for users that people might not be aware of?
There's many. So coincidentally, this week is our anniversary, our 15th anniversary. One of the things that Cloudflare has been doing almost from the start was supporting individuals that might be under duress and stressful situations, under siege even. So journalists or human rights activists in specific countries. Cloudflare is offering those services to them for free. And this week we've actually expanded that portfolio to provide even more security for those individuals so that they can do their work and maybe with a little bit more security. We obviously provide security on the internet, which gives them the opportunity to use the internet anonymously and safely. Unfortunately, we cannot guarantee physical safety, but certainly we're trying to contribute to everyone's safety. So if you want to look it up, Project Galileo, it's a huge initiative for us, and it makes me proud to work at Cloudflare.
Cyber resilience is a big part of your thought leadership. What does true resilience look like for an organization?
Well, it's a very complicated topic nowadays. Some of it is even geopolitical. But really what I think it's about is being able to respond to incidents and threats in such a way that you experience little to no harms from it. And harms being downtime or liabilities, that kind of stuff. The things that would cause your organization financial distress, maybe continuity issues. There's, like I said, there's no 100% guarantee that anyone is secure. There is a lot of stuff that we, as a community in cybersecurity, still need to improve. But certainly, being flexible and resilient is very much more important than it used to be when we focused on building a moat and keeping everyone out. We work distributed across the world, and everyone is using their own tools, their own stuff. The internet is a very democratic place, but that also makes it very difficult to control. So having a safe place to work is paramount. And then being able to see what's going on, being able to respond to that, and being able to recover is absolutely critical.
How do you measure resilience beyond just time to recovery?
So one thing to look at is downtime from incidents, and you want to reduce that to a minimum. The other thing is, what's the perception of my clients and stakeholders in general of my organization? And tied to that, I think, is the concept of trust. Resilience is one part of trust, but as an organization, you need to be trustworthy for your clients. And so if something happens, you want to be open and transparent about it and share your lessons so that others can benefit from them. The other part there is doing the right things for everyone. So rather than using all of the data that goes through our networks, we ensure that everything stays private. I think that's key to being a resilient organization, is you build that trust with your partners over time, and you don't want to abuse that trust. So don't change your business model because there's suddenly an opportunity to use that data for other purposes. You got to stick with what you believe is right. And therein, I think, lies true resilience.
So speaking of trust, then AI-generated content like deepfakes, phishing is evolving fast. How can businesses prepare for a world where we can't trust what we see or hear?
Well, we need to get better at what we do. So everything that is being done on the internet always leaves a mark somewhere. And when considering building in security into products and designs, this is what you need to look out for, right? So what is it that is actually changed versus, let's say, the original that you could use to flag to someone and point out this is not actually real. So I don't think many organizations are actually doing this. If you use a video conference tool, it doesn't automatically flag that image has been changed or whatever. Maybe this will move into, let's say, a completely new, different market for third-party tools to support that kind of capability. But I hope that this kind of capability becomes embedded in the tooling that we build and serve up to our clients going forwards.
And so do you think technology will eventually solve the authenticity problem, or will we have to change human behavior?
I don't think you can change human behavior. Maybe you can influence it. Oftentimes, we point to the human as being, the source of the error. I think we need to set our standards a little bit higher as an industry, where if the technology does not fit human behavior, the technology is not good enough. And so there's lots of stuff for us to do to make technology more viable for human beings. And hopefully that's where we'll take it. So my firm belief, the technology needs to change.
So cybersecurity is often seen as a cost center. How do you turn security into a business enabler?
I think, again, that relates to the topic of trust. So doing the right things for your clients, making sure that whatever you promised is being held up in practice. So if you offer reliable, secure, private services, you need to maintain that trust. Um, and that's what creates a sticky product. So your customers will stay with you if you don't mess up, basically, or if you don't go and change the script on them. Oftentimes we have apps nowadays that after an update they tell you, "Hey, I'm an AI assistant now." That's not what I want to see as a consumer, and that makes me think about: is this actually an app that I still want to use? Makes me want to investigate alternatives. So don't screw up. Uh, Create trust with your clients and stick with that, and that's what customers want to see. That will build the business case for your security in the long term.
How can CISOs then shift boardroom conversations from compliance to competitive advantage?
Certainly, you always need to be compliant. I mean, that's not even a question. Um, how I see it is compliance is part of a societal conversation where society is in fact telling you, as an organization, to step it up. You need to be better, and being compliant is part of being trustworthy as an organization. So these concepts, they go hand in hand, and as you become compliant, as you improve your resilience, as you improve your cybersecurity, that drives your business and makes you successful.
So, compliance and AI governments are becoming critical. What's the right balance between innovation and regulation?
Innovation all the way. But seriously, as we've seen time and time again in technological developments, if you can make it, you can break it. Technology, I feel, is inherently neutral. It depends on the person, the organization that uses it, what outcomes are achieved. So you really need to consider, your own strategy in terms of technological use, and what you think is right to achieve what technology is meant to do.
So, you talked about the risk from quantum, but are organizations overestimating or underestimating the AI risk today?
Um, they're probably underestimating AI risk, simply because most people don't really understand what it is and how it works, what it does. That being said, it's getting a lot of attention, which I think is a good thing. Um, there are a lot of frameworks out there in terms of governance, in terms of security, which makes me think if we don't really have convergence of these frameworks, it's probably something for everyone out there, but there's also a lot of uncertainty about what to do exactly. This is a relatively new area of development, which we'll see going forward is how it will be developed. I personally wish that some of the AI developers would take security a little bit more seriously, but we'll see. There's lots of work to do, and it's a brave new world, and I think what technology is doing right now is amazing.
So, from your vantage point at Cloudflare, what's the most misunderstood part of internet security today?
Misunderstood. I don't think people generally appreciate the complexity of the internet, what it looks like, all of the hard and software that is required to build it. We take it for granted, like water from the tap, or electricity. But the underlying fabric, the foundations, they're incredible. It's something that we achieved as a community. I think it's a shining beacon for what we can do as humanity if we all come together, agree on the way forward, and then we can do amazing things. So I wish we had more internets, to be honest.
So if you could give every business leader one piece of cybersecurity advice, what would it be?
Think about it not just in terms of protecting, but in terms of creating trust. So what can you do to create trust with your stakeholders? Cybersecurity and protecting your organization is fundamental to building that trust. And as we go forward, I think it will become even more important. Many organizations have a very wide array of risk. But as we go into the digital era, cybersecurity, I think, is going to be the most important one for most organizations. So have this on the top of your agenda and go out, build trust with your partners.
So looking forward then, what gives you hope about the future of the internet and cybersecurity?
What gives us hope is that there are many organizations like Cloudflare that help to build a better internet, that help to secure organizations online, and that bring peace to the world. I hope that this is a symbol for not just the internet, but for the world at large. That if we band together, we can do amazing things. So yeah, this is a call out to everyone.
And so the last question for you is of a personal kind. What would you be doing in your life if not this?
It's interesting because we had a conversation about this yesterday on our stand, and I would be a forest ranger.
A forest ranger?
Yes.
That sounds so. One day I'll interview you for the Forestier of the Month.
I am Gregory van der Top, Field CISO at Cloudflare. Catch me on the Marketer of the Month show.